It's part 5, and hopefully everything goes right. Like, even if I mention it, and even if I don't mention it, it still just happens, usually. So, we'll see.
Is there something we can do that's not mentioning it, but also not mentioning it?
Honestly, that sounds like the type of thing you'd come up with and not me.
That's true. It sounds like a plot line that I'd include in all of my original ideas.
Of course, that just reminds me of Caleb Cities. Just like I managed to steal the key before I stole it.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Oh man. The thing is, he put out something about time travel later, and somebody like was explaining it, but for some reason, whenever explaining like time travel things, I just blank. I can't process it properly. I just can't.
What did I recently? Oh, there's a video about NFTs. I'm trying to think. There's something that took explanation that I've recently watched, but I think it might be that. The Folding Ideas NFT video, which is the seminal work on a topic since the last seminal work on a topic is done. You know, this is like the YouTube appreciation video. Well, not even just YouTube. There's a lot of really talented people, and it's just cool that they're able to just give the world the things they're good at, and everyone can just enjoy it.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're over here giving the world the things we're good at, and then like 30 people see it.
Oh, 30 people. That sounds like you had a great day.
You say that, and yet somehow, like, our last video is at 21. Man, if I was about to say if I were to succumb to depression easily, but that's an ironic statement. It's weird how I'm somehow still carrying on with this. I mean, in essence, it still is fun. So, like, I get it. It's just that, like, when you see just other things go out that are like, oh man, that seems low energy or low skill, I could do that, and I could very well do that instead of one of those, oh, why are you paying for drawings when I could draw, I just don't want to kind of garbage. It's like, no, seriously, I could do that. I could replicate it literally in just like an hour and do it. And due to how the algorithm works and everything else, even if that video still did not exist by the time I did it, I'd still be in the same dang place. Thinking about it, I often wonder, like, with all the stuff that I have, there's still some things that are big regardless of the time it comes out on. I've actually been looking into PS Now, because I was supposed to get an Xbox Game Pass with the computer, but they say it's not available in this region, because of course it's not.
Oh, it's oh my, are you? Of course, that's fine. Whatever.
It's not fine. It's not fine at all.
I mean, I don't want to contribute to the Netflixization of video games. Even if it's currently the best deal in games, it's also disrupting an industry that I'd prefer exist.
Well, so. It's not. I mean, it's for stuff that's harder to get at this point. So it's like PS Now in this case has Disgaea 3 and 4. And 4, while I can get 4 complete on the PC, 3 is much harder to get. So I'd want to go deal with that.
I thought PS Now gave you a select number of things each month.
Yeah, it does. But just like I was getting to that. Because from my initial understanding, I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. Until I saw current selection of games. I'm like, there it is. And it's like, it's almost like if I didn't have a broad spectrum of games that I could try, then that does seem like almost gambling-ish. That's not the best analogy,
No,
but it's
well,
like
PS Now, from my understanding, is like a bonus on top of just having PS Plus. It's not like the draw, like Game Pass is a draw. I mean, I wouldn't know for sure, but that's my understanding. The
I'd
thing
have to
is,
look into it a bit more, I
the
guess.
way the way the rumors are, and it's most likely true, that Sony is gearing up for its own Game Pass because they're looking at Xbox. They're like, yeah, we need to do something. Which of course just means even more streaming service video games, which that sounds lovely. I'm extremely excited for that.
You know, it's
After
weird how
Netflix
I can
goes up to $20
obviously.
a month, I don't know why anyone is excited for what I could complain all day.
I mean, look, at least I could say that it's good that I can get these things, certain things legally. But otherwise, there are way too many different sort of issues as to why this is not a good thing. For me to just say, oh boy, games, and have it just be the end of that. At least responsibly.
Hmm.
Uh, but regardless, I am still looking into PS Now, um, at the very least. Because there's actually much less stuff on Xbox Game Pass that I want, just overall.
Do you
Though, of
ever
course...
think?
Do, hmm?
Do you ever think about the fact that if Steam, the company, goes under, you just every single game you've ever purchased is just gone? Have you ever thought of that before?
Yes.
And that's what I was kind of thinking, like, Microsoft, if Microsoft's end goal, or say if Phil Spencer leaves and a more evil person decides that Microsoft's end goal should be becoming, because they're like, when you think of online shopping, you think of Amazon. We want to be that for gaming. They explicitly said that. And so if they decide they need to be the de facto gaming and Steam needs to go and get replaced with game streaming or a game subscription service. It's just like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic or what's the word? Doom and gloom. But that's pretty
Paranoid.
much the paranoia. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, yep, I hate this completely.
The thing is that well, in between thinking, it wasn't exactly Steam that made me think about the issue of losing this kind of stuff. It was the Spider-Man games slash TMNT games being taken off of Steam right before I could get the ability to get them. And it's like, you can't get TMNT Mutants in Manhattan anymore. And like, I understand from a certain standpoint that like, okay, the game doesn't look to be that good, but it was very interesting in how it did things, in my opinion. So I wanted to try it, and now I can just never do.
Yeah. I mean, something else that's made me think about this recently is the Switch. Now I'm just like, how many games should I be getting on my Switch? Because I, it's not like I can easily transfer the save files. Aren't exactly they're online only. I can't physically save the save files, so eventually I will lose these save backups. And it just something I just thought about. It's like maybe I should be careful about the amount of things I buy on my Switch if I can get them on Steam.
Well, there's also the fact that we still need to be careful of the potential EMP apocalypse.
Oh well, if the
But
EMP apocalypse comes, we're all jumping into a lake. Yes. Like I've just the thought of, 'cause it's not even just no internet means you're bored. Like, you lose pretty much 90% of the people you know.
Yeah, we're back in subsistence level of interaction.
Like, genuinely, if an EMP happened, we'd probably lose contact. Because it would take
Yeah.
a very, and we are not that far from each other. So that's the sort of thing, it's like, yeah, it sounds awful.
I mean, it's all. You also have to keep in mind the fact that okay, so workplaces, how's that going? And
Repeat that?
everything workplaces,
Yeah. Well, that's
like
just
everything.
done.
Yeah, and
I
then the
mean, I
far
think the fact that most work right now is just office work means they'd all be obsolete anyways.
and the farmers would be like, oh, this is me trying to farm for lives because I used up my sub tank against Spark Mandrill. But as I learned later, certain enemies in this game have a percentage chance, a higher percentage chance of dropping certain things. Um, and this one seems to be like 95% energy, which is functionally useless to Vile.
Hmm.
So, yeah. What was I saying before? Oh yeah, I just it. I mean, realistically, due to certain ideas of how this would work, we can't exactly say, oh, what if this happened, and what if this happened? Because technically, like from our perspective, imagine the craziness of saying, oh, what if this giant virus that came from China swept across the world like the second plague? Just like, what if that happened, man? Just like if I said that in 2018, you'd just be like, yeah, where are we going with this conversation? And yet here we are.
Yeah, that's true. Before something happens, you don't think it will happen. Yeah, everyone. It's not like diseases don't exist, but everyone probably thought, yeah, we're at a point in the world where that sort of thing would be a lot less likely. And technically, they're right. This is a lot less likely because generally, I always think about the fact that I heard someone say this and it's pretty much true. If everyone just stayed home for 2 weeks, and had stuff provided for them for 2 weeks, and then opened up, this would have been done in March 2019 or March 2020. Like, March 2020 or April 2020, we'd be done with this. And so when I think about how easily this could have not happened, it's even more frustrating and wild to think that it did happen like this.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that I still have to deal with well, not me, but I still have to hear other people say stuff about the vaccines that are just like, where would you possibly get that information from?
Yeah, it's funny. There is at least one person in my family who does not want to take the vaccine, which is ironic because I'm pretty sure the vaccine probably saved my life because I got sick and I took the vaccine and now I'm better. So it's interesting to think about that dichotomy.
It's, I mean, socially, it's one of those things where, in the context of it happening, I wouldn't have said I saw this coming. But if you were to present this sort of idea to me before, I would have said yes, socially this would happen because we are filled, just like especially our society, we're filled with people who love to think that they're on top of things when they're talking complete nonsense and will not just hear anything else but what they
Okay,
think.
I mean, our society is that way, but I do feel like a specific brand of anti-vaxism, I guess you could say, is just not is something that's very new, and probably because of the U.S.
Well,
Because
yeah.
because
Um,
we our children just get vaccinated to go to school. Like you can't be let into school without them, and no one cares. And for the first time ever, people
somebody is
suddenly
like saying that.
really care.
Yeah, I always just thought of that like, dude, like we're making sure polio is not a thing. What's the difference between that and here?
Yeah, and the argument would be, oh, these are more experimental, and that not really. It's been years, so I don't really buy that anymore. But I don't want to get into the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah,
because
we're fighting Rangda Bangda, isn't it great?
I mean, two
That's
people are gonna watch this video. Who cares? So we should just say what we're saying.
that is a very I want in my head to refute you. I want to refute you so badly, except you're sort of right, and I just have to sit over here and face
Hey, if
that
this video gets
reality.
a bunch of dislikes, that's engagement. That'd be fantastic for our channel. Let me say something
Uh,
else inflammatory. I can't think of anything, so I just drop it. I wanted to say something. Joe Biden, he's a human being.
but we can still agree. We can still all agree that Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard person, right?
Okay, well, I'm trying to say things that are inflammatory, not things that are just like accepted.
uh, um, that being said,
This is an extremely long boss.
okay, the only reason is because my weapons loadout turns out to be terrible for this one. And like I don't have any of its weaknesses in the weapons loadout because the weapons are actually somewhat they have properties based around the map we could get them from. Um, so
Can those
if I
eyes
had
even be destroyed? Oh, okay, I guess they can.
yeah. So if I equipped a Sting Chameleon weapon, one of the lasers, then it would have done extra damage. Um, but the thing is that like the problem is that the eye keeps coming out on places I can't hit it. Um, because the even with the triple shot, I'd have to be over on the other side to get it. Um, it doesn't go high enough. And then with with the tornado one, it goes direct straight line, in front of me. So I'd have to be on its level while not also being over where the eye is. And then there's the fact that the eyes also shoot things, and there's one that just chases you anyways, while there is a spike pit in the middle.
You know what this reminds me
So
of?
I honestly don't know. Is it Donkey Kong Country related?
Terraria.
Well,
Because there's an
should've known.
extremely annoying boss that amounts to two eyes. That's pretty much it. Some people think this boss is easy, but they're easy. That boss is insanely difficult to me.
You hear that? He's saying that he could date you anytime.
I could date insanely difficult to me. I don't worry. I missed the
You,
joke.
no, you, you just said that people said that the boss is easy, but you said, but they're easy.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's true.
God, why do we always have to fall for this? I make a great joke and you're just like, what are you talking about? Explain it, thus thereby ruining it.